Hey, what's going on everybody? It's etaprime back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at Star Wars Outlaws running on the Steam Deck OLED. Now, this isn't running in SteamOS. I do have to say that before we get started. This is actually running in Windows. It's the only way I could get it up and running. And recently, Valve released some new Windows drivers for the Steam Deck OLED. I already had it installed on an SSD, so I figured I'd go ahead and see how it runs on this device. And when it comes to the overall graphic settings with Star Wars Outlaws, we do have AMD's frame generation. It also supports FSR 3.1 right out of the box. And obviously, when it comes to the Steam Deck's APU, it's not the most powerful on the market. And even in Windows, we can only run this up to 15 watts. So basically, what I've got going on here, 800p, lowest of the low settings, AMD's frame generation enabled, and FSR set to ultra performance. So yeah, we're at the lowest of the low on this at 800p with some frame gen. We're gonna see what this thing can do. And as for FSR, we do have two modes. We can fix this sitting at ultra performance, or we can use a bias. I find that it does perform a little better in bias mode on the Steam Deck right now. At the time of making this video, early release on this game has been out for about 15 minutes. Basically, I've started the game up, gone through the first cutscene. I do plan on making more videos showing this running on different devices like the ROG Ally X, and we'll come back with the Steam Deck as soon as we get some updates for the game itself. But until then, let's see how it runs on the Steam Deck OLED. So I've got my frame counter up in the top left-hand corner. Again, lowest of the low at 800p, and yeah, we're definitely getting some stutters going on here. In just a bit, I'm going to swap over to my game capture so we can get a better look at everything, and we can lock the frame rate inside of the game. I'm actually really curious to see if we can run this at 30 FPS continuously. So I've been really excited about the release of Outlaws. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, just like a lot of other people out there, and overall, I think, all the trailers and everything that I've seen so far does look like it's going to be a really fun game, especially if you're a fan of Star Wars. The way it's looking right now, it is a bit all over the place, but with frame gen enabled, low settings here, 800p, it does look like we can get right into the mid-40s here. Now, I'm not exactly sure how this is going to fare once there's a lot of particles on screen, maybe in battle, but in this cityscape right here, which, usually seems to take a lot of CPU and GPU, lots of NPCs around, it's actually doing a lot better than I thought it would. Of course, it would have been nice if I booted this up on the Steam Deck and was able to run it at a constant 60 FPS without some stuttering going on, but this is day one release. It's actually the 3-day early access, so I'm sure some more optimizations will be coming down the road. There is one setting that I wanted to change here, and that has to do with FSR. So the upscaler mode, we're going to go to fixed, so it's continuously going to be in ultra performance mode. And to me, it seems to perform worse like this. Now, it could just be kind of the placebo effect, but I think the biased mode is going to be the way to go on this game. I read up on a lot of lore for the game before it released. I mean, the hype was definitely real for this, especially for people who love the Star Wars games. And the last couple of games that released, I enjoyed playing. I know there were people out there that loved them. I know there were people that hated them. It's going to be the same thing with every game that releases. But, if you enjoy playing it, go ahead and play it. I mean, have fun with it. And I don't think we had any kind of pre-cached shaders when I started this game up. I think I was just able to go right into the game unless it was doing it in the background. I don't want to ruin the story for anybody, so I'm going to skip through this. Now, unfortunately, with Windows installed on the Steam Deck, we can only reach one resolution. I can't go down any further than this and then use something to upscale it unless I'm using an external monitor. And I'm going to swap over in just a second, but I'm going to take the FSR mode back to biased instead of fixed. And again, I really do feel like it works better in bias mode on the Steam Deck right now. Just like the resolution, without a third-party app at least, we can't change the refresh rate of the screen. It's at 90 Hz because we are on the OLED Steam Deck. So it looks to me like we're getting an average of around 41 FPS with Star Wars Outlaws on the Steam Deck with Windows installed. Again, up and down from there, but yeah, I mean, we've got a lower powered APU here, only up to 15 watts. And I've been messing around with lossless scaling recently, so if you want to see a video like that with lossless scaling enabled in Star Wars Outlaws on the Steam Deck with Windows, let me know in the comments below. But since we've already got AMD's frame gen built in, I'm not sure how much of a jump in performance we would see. If we could lower the resolution on the built-in screen and then upscale to 800p, we could definitely get a nice little bump in the FPS. But I'll definitely need to test that out, and I want to get further in the game before I do that. Now there's one last thing before we move over to the game capture. From our settings, we can change the aspect ratio. Right now I've got it filling the screen, but we can enable the 21.9 widescreen aspect ratio. And I don't think it's going to help out with performance on this APU. Yeah, it kind of gave us a wider field of view. I was thinking, if it kind of scaled it down, cut the edges off, it might help a bit, but not really. I've just swapped over to my game capture to give you a look at something. On the Steam Deck here with Windows installed, we do have the option of locking the frame rate down to 30. With the frame rate locked like that, we can't use AMD's frame generation. I've dropped the resolution down to 720p and I'm still using FSR at ultra performance. I've tried both modes there with FSR 3. Unfortunately, we just can't get a steady 30 out of this on the Steam Deck running Windows right now. So hopefully this does come over to Steam, but the way it sits right now, the only way I could get this game running was in Windows on the Steam Deck, and performance definitely isn't stellar. So I've just gone back to the original settings, everything at low, FSR 3 Ultra Performance, and I've also got AMD's frame generation enabled. So I will have more videos with this game up and running on different devices like the ROG Ally X. Definitely stay tuned to the channel. You need to play through a little further, and it is fun making videos like this, showing off brand new games running, but it doesn't give me a chance to kind of explore the game. But that's something I will be doing with this one. And you can see we're kind of indoors right now. We've got the walls blocking off from the long field of view. Frame rate is up, but not by that much. And even indoors, we can't hit 60 on the Steam Deck. I'll have that ROG Ally X video up soon. And if there's any kind of settings or any hardware you want to see this running on, just let me know in the comments below. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. I figured I'd go ahead and show this running on the Steam Deck. Again, hopefully this does come over to Steam and we can run it in SteamOS, but until then, you could play it like this if you wanted to. If you've got any questions, let me know down below. And like always, thanks for watching.